Next as well, this is a little bit of a PSA. I wanna I wanna ask my fellow viewers and stuff to keep Thea Vaughan in your prayers. Not sure if you guys out there are praying type people, or if you give a shit about religion or anything along those kind of lines. But according to this clip, it does look like our boy Theo is going through some troubled times. I know he's been struggling with sobriety for a while. It's been off and on for a bit. I do like the fact that he's very open and willing to kind of share when he is struggling with sobriety and when he is having some down times and some times that aren't really the best. He does go out of his way to kind of share it with everybody, which I think is a great thing. But it does look like he's back on the white stuff, unfortunately, according to this clip that I found on the Theo Vaughn subreddit. So I would implore anybody who is a fan of Theo, and I am a big fan of his, that to kind of keep him in his prayers in it, because it doesn't look great, to be honest. It doesn't look great.
The bus broke down, that bastard. Now, that thing had some, I mean, it was, I mean, that thing, it looked like it was just made out of dang, like, it would just had that dirty diaper vibe from the jump. It was, I know there was a pair of, men's boots, small men's boots under my bed. And it was interesting. I thought they was children's boots when I saw them. I said, this is children's boots. And it's a little creepy to have children's boots under your bed on a bus. That's, strange. And the bedding looked like they had just beaten it out of Clint Eastwood. Like somebody tied it up and they just punched him so many times that a damn, bedroom set popped right out of his skull. It was just had an old, older motif, kind of Western, kind of, kind of like somebody, so I don't know. I bet it felt like something bad had happened to Native Americans in the area of the blanket. That's what it felt like. It felt it was an old blanket. Anyway, they had children's boots under the bed, but on the back of the children's boot, it said men's on it. And that's when you got to really question what's going on. When somebody's writing men's on the back of a children's boot. So anyway, what else?
So yeah, it's not looking good, isn't it? Not looking good, but big up Jess with the fucking. Oh, if I had to deal with Brendan and Delia, I couldn't be sober, to be honest. Look, man, I've had my, I wouldn't say I've had my struggles, but I've had moments and parts of my life where I've basically indulged a bit too much in the old Class A substances. And I think for the most part, when it comes to entertainment and when it comes to yeah, entertainment sort of stuff, yeah, entertainment, musicy, standing up on stage and whatever it may be. Unfortunately, especially when you're doing stuff at night, there's just too many temptations. And I felt like, for me personally, especially when I was kind of DJing often, now I don't do it too much because, things have basically changed. The landscape isn't what it once was. I'm not maybe pursuing as much as I was in the past, whatever it may be. But for a period of time between the years of like 2014 to 2019 ish, I was playing like every week between the days of like Thursday to Sunday in like local bars and pubs, right? Nothing too crazy, but DJing all the time, getting the odd 100 quid here and there, free drink tokens, having a great time, being the ball of the dance and stuff and make people's night. Great, I loved it. And there would come a time where you'd start to maybe buy into the whole image of being this DJ guy, right? Where you'd maybe want to do drugs, you maybe want to get fucked up while you're playing. And for whatever reason, there's this romantic idea in your head that plays that gives you the idea that you're actually better the more high or fucked up you are. But in actuality, you're actually better the more sober you are, because you're doing a job, right? You're of service to people. You are, wherever you are, even if you're playing acoustic guitar, you're doing stand up, whatever it may be, you are providing people with entertainment for the night. You're basically setting the mood, right? You're basically setting them on their way, wherever it may be. And the only way you can do it really well is to be sober. especially if you want to be somebody like a Theo Vaughn, you want to be at the top of the top, right? You want to be competing with some of the best competing. You want to be on the same level as some of these other big comedians out there. You want to be selling out shows and doing tours and stuff. It's just not conducive to have that kind of rock star lifestyle if you're also trying to achieve those things. It just doesn't work out. Something has to give. And I know from my experience from just playing in crappy bars and pubs how difficult it was to kind of avoid that temptation, because there's always a bartender, there's always a bar back, there's always a kitchen porter, there's always a sous chef, there's always a security guard who's gonna, who wants to offer you a line, offer you a bump, offer you a drink. Like, there's always something, a joint, there's always somebody willing to do that because they just, they like you being around, you're a good person, you're chill, you're good to hang out with. So to be able to withstand those temptations and just treat it like a kind of like a job and just be able to clock in and clock out, it takes a lot of willpower, man. Just a lot of determination. And if you've got already issues you're dealing with already, it's super difficult. And again, the other element also people don't take into consideration is that usually when you start off going out and partying and stuff, you start off doing it off the back of other people. You might pick up the odd gram and there by yourself. You might, you know, you might basically leech off of others to get lines or whatever it may be, or to get pills, whatever it may be. But then once you start making some money, especially if you enjoy the stuff that you're doing, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go buy yourself an 8 ball. You're gonna go buy yourself a tab. You're gonna go buy yourself a pint because now you have the money to afford it because you couldn't before. And that's the really unfortunate and sad thing I feel like when it comes to people who are recovering, especially people who are, going through the whole stand up journey, which is for the most part, it looks pretty brutal. You spend a whole lot of time being poor for a long, long time. Then you get rich really quickly, right? Overnight, it feels like you go from being somebody sharing a room with an adult and then suddenly you're living in a mansion. Like, it'd be pretty difficult not to kind of dabble in the drugs and stuff. But I just feel sad for him because I'm a big fan of Theo. I still think he's legitimately one of the funnier guys out of that whole LA comedy podcast scene type people. It's a shame his stand ups aren't as great as it's a shame his stand up specials aren't as good as how funny he is on podcasts. But that does happen. But I still think there is a real great in there. You know what I mean? He just needs to somehow be able to rid himself of his demons. But again, it's easier said than done, in it. So keep that guy in your prayers, innit? Keep that guy in your prayers.